Welcome to the webinar from Questions to Resolution, Navigating Bold Support and Learning Tools. We're excited to have you here. Truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to participate in this community event. Before we get started, here are a few quick housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded and the recording will be shared afterwards if it's available. Uh, Also, please feel free to use the Q&A feature to submit any questions at any time. Please be sure that they are about the webinar subject matter. We will set aside time at the end for questions and discussion. Thank you again for being here. Let's get started. At the end of this webinar, we hope that you leave with these key takeaways. These key takeaways are that all the support resources available to you, and they're all free, that you'll be aware of them. Also, that you'll know how to find answers fast on your own using your product knowledge bases. Also, we want you to know what's changed in Bold Group technical support, plus any tips for submitting a support case that gets resolved more quickly with a live ticket walkthrough. And also, we want you to know how to train your team with BoldU and track hosted system status with Bold Group status page. With that, hope that sounds like something you're wanting to know. Before we get moving any further, let's start with a poll question. I actually have a couple of poll questions for you. Let me get the first one out. First poll question. Hopefully everything is popped up there. What resources do you already use? Do you use Knowledge Base, BoldU, Submit a Ticket, Status Page? We're going to take a few minutes for everyone to put in their answers. You should be able to put more, make more than one answer if you use all of those. Great. I'm just watching this poll grow. All right. I'm going to end the poll in 3, 2, 1. Let's take a look at those results. As you can see, a lot of people are using the knowledge base, at least of the attendees. 40% of you are using BoldU. We'll be talking about BoldU later in this webinar. 80% of you do use the ticket system, and 26% of you seem to know what the status page is. That's fun. Let's do one more poll question. And what resource, let's see, how do you request technical help from support? There we go. And you can vote now. Again, I think you should be able to choose more than one answer if you use more than one way. And we're just waiting for everyone to chime in. That's great. All right. And okay, a few more people are coming in. A few more people are voting. All right, we're going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1. Nice. All right. As you can see, we got 56 of the percent of the votes go to the support portal. Some use email at 53%. 47% of you voted for call support by phone, and 14% of you said you just reach out to your account manager. That is some great results. Thank you so much for participating. And let's just move on to what we're talking about then. So we're talking about the customer support that is available to you, and then later we'll talk about resources that you can use. This is the customer support org chart. Most of these managers are actually here to answer your questions, specifically Aaron and Sean. They are actually, if you submit a question on the Q&A uh, area in here in Zoom, they'll be the ones answering your questions. So feel free to ask them anything about this webinar. And if you notice, Sean is the head of the infrastructure, and then we also have Joe Kaler, who's with customer support. We have infrastructure, we have technical services, and then at the bottom rung, which is usually the first engagement for customers, is customer engagement, alarm monitoring, and business management. So let me introduce you the person who will be presenting to you more information about this customer support organization and information about them. His name is Jacob Perez. He is the customer engagement team manager, and he's been in the security and alarm industry for 17 years. 5 of those we've been lucky to have him be a part of Bold Group, and also he is in charge of the first point of engagement for all of you when you're going into support. He supports both alarm and business management software. So let me hand it over now to Jacob. Jacob, take it away.
All right. Thanks so much, Sam. I appreciate that. Well, good afternoon, everyone. As Sam said, my name is Jacob Perez, and I am the manager of the customer engagement team. For those that don't know, our customer engagement team is a newly developed group, and it serves, as Sam said, to the first point of contact for our customers. So for you all, especially during those urgent situations, that way we can go in and assist and provide, support for those critical inbound calls and needs and tickets that come in from you. So whether that's on the alarm side or with our business management software. So our customer engagement team is comprised of technicians that have expertise in multiple products, and again, with an aim of first contact point resolution. So our responsibility as a whole is to quickly assess the issue, attempt a first contact resolution whenever possible, and then provide clear, immediate guidance, whether that's going to be an issue that requires deeper technical expertise. Maybe we need to escalate it to the appropriate department right away while keeping you informed and supported. So because we're on that frontline support, our work plays a major role in stabilizing customer operations and maintaining trust during moments that matter most for you all. So again, we understand when you call in and you have an issue that completely knocks out your operation. Maybe you're on the alarm side and maybe you just got booted out of Manitou, nobody can log back in. Perhaps if you're on the business management side, you have, your billing, you're unable to process and it's the first of the month and you need that, critically assistance to go through that. So again, we're at that front line. So when you either call in, put a ticket in, we're doing the initial triage for that process. So that's our role as our customer engagement team to help stabilize those situations. The nature of our role means we do resolve a large volume of issues at first contact, as that is our goal and our aim. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that in our process of support, that efficiency, as we move through the presentation. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look here. Now that I've introduced myself, let's go ahead and expand a bit on the purpose and structure of our customer engagement team. We'll start off with some key metrics and trends. So this team was created to give customers a single reliable point of support, especially during, again, those high urgency situations. We structured to respond quickly, gather the right information up front, and set the tone for the entire support experience. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight. We'll start here with some insights here on how we have impacted overall the support process since our creation. So we created this team back in May of 2025 through December of 2025 was the beginning period in which we started taking some of these metrics here. And during that time frame, from point of creation to December of 2025, as a whole, we handled, as a support organization, 14,000 total cases. So now through those, out of that out of those 14,000, 7 of them were fully resolved by the customer engagement team alone, with another 1,000 of those transferred or escalated to other departments. So this demonstrates how significant the contribution is overall to the support process being that first contact resolute. So we're really aiming again to focus in on that. So that's over half of those tickets, just right off the bat, first contact point resolute that we're looking to achieve. So when we talk about first contact resolution, the numbers as we show here speak for themselves. The customer engagement team is clear that our focus is when you put in a ticket, you give us a phone call, we are trying to assist you and trying to get you the answers that you need. Hopefully at first contact. And if that doesn't work, or we need to escalate that to our next tier of support, we definitely want to keep you informed and involved in regards to where your tickets are going, and keeping that established communication line strong, so that way you know how tickets are progressing. And we'll touch a little bit more about that here in a moment as well. Kind of what the poll suggests, so some interesting metrics here that we found. So looking at call pattern volumes, something interesting that stands out is that out of those 14,000 total tickets, over 8,000 came in nearly via email, with roughly 3,000 from the portal and just over 2,000 by phone. So email and support portal submission give technicians more flexibility for that triage, while phone calls tend to represent more urgent outages or escalations, so critical needs and so forth. So we definitely are seeing that that very popular entry method for these, and I think the poll question and answer there really reflected that as well, is through email and portal. So a lot of you folks, that is where you tend to go to when you're like, hey, I need support, and you're putting in those tickets. And we're going to highlight again and come back to this and talk a little bit about, some best practices and some suggestions and recommendations on that when we get to the next coming slides about ticket creation. As we look here, so finally our average calendar days open, we do kind of keep those metrics involved as well as we're doing the support process. And we've noticed that during that time of viewing these, that the calendar day opens did decrease and goes down to about 5 days, and that includes weekends. So, as you guys know, that, Bold support in general is Monday through Friday. Now, of course, we do have our critical for alarm side for after hours type deal, but generally speaking, those 2 days are still included in this metric. So that calendar 5 days that we have there, if you think about that, again, we really are showing a amount of attentiveness to these tickets that maybe in the past we had not seen. So again, something that we are aiming to strive and achieve, making sure that these tickets are handled, as quickly as possible, but yet efficiently. So again, we really saw some key improvement here, and set out to do what we wanted to do. So it was looking pretty sharp there. So as we move through that, let's talk about how we support you as a customer. This one here as well, just showing that again, our significant decline of the active days open, but also including weekends and so forth. So how we support you as a customer. So rapid assessment of incoming issues. So as you put in a ticket, as you make a phone call, whatever your method is to put in and contact Bold Group support, we as a customer engagement team quickly determine the urgency and the next steps for each customer request. Maybe you put in a sales request of some items that you need. We're initially gathering some details, and then we're getting that and escalating that over to our sales team. Perhaps you have an actual issue going on, something that needs to be scheduled and a little bit of a deeper dive looked into, where that initial triage will make that determination and then move accordingly. We'll talk a little bit more in depth on that kind of ticket streamline process here momentarily, but let's look at the next one here. So after we do that, we focus on that first contact resolution. So initial triage, then we move on to how can we solve this issue for you as the customer. So we resolve as many issues as possible during the initial interaction. Let's say if you're on the business management side, maybe you need a user created, right? For Sedona, you had a new hire and you need those accesses. So you put in that request, and then we go ahead and take that request, create that user, and the issue is now completed, right? So from start to finish, all within one process. Perhaps it's something that on the alarm monitoring side, you put in a ticket. If you're a cloud hosted customer, maybe it's something where you added a workstation in, right? So you need to go ahead and get that workstation approved, and you need to go ahead and get the patches and packages sent to that workstation. That's all something that in-house can be handled by our customer engagement team. We'll get onto the hosted environment, send those through, and be able to assist our customer bases with that. So again, really focused on trying to achieve that first contact resolute as possible. However, it may not always be the case. Maybe there is a significant level of troubleshooting or a significant item that needs to be addressed, and a more lengthy time frame needs to be given in order to really dig in and hone in on what that issue is. That brings us with the clear, consistent communication. At that point, we're going to reach out to you and let you know what, this needs to be escalated to our next tier of support, which at this point, maybe it's going over to our L2 team, which again, we'll discuss here shortly. But we're going to provide that straightforward guidance to customers to make sure that you feel supported throughout the entire process from start to finish, just so that way, again, you know where those tickets are going. Now, that's not to say that, it's going to live with the customer engagement team for the entire length of the ticket. Again, do keep in mind that as we do the initial triage, as we determine that that does need to move on to other departments, there is going to be a change of hands that happens, and it moves on to the next department. And again, we are trying to provide that clear, consistent communication to make sure that you are aware of where it is going. And that way you're kind of aware that, what type of uptake that's going to take as far as the communication goes. So we're really focused as a team on this point here as customer-centered support practices. Interactions are designed to keep customers informed, and tickets are escalated and transferred to a different department. So again, we're just really honing in and focused on making sure that if we do need to transfer this out of the department, that you folks are aware that where your ticket's at, and essentially, what's going on with that. Maybe you called in just for an update, right? Or something of that nature, or put in a ticket for an update on one. We're triaging them, and we're getting those communicated to the original ticket, and then any, of course, duplicate tickets closed out once we've initially moved that concern to the original ticket, right? So again, we're really focused on making sure that you're here, that you feel heard, and that your requests are being taken care of to the best of our ability. With that, we have standardized workflows for consistency. So we have internal processes and that are established procedures that ensure predictable, reliable, and support across all types. So our standardized workflows, they create efficiency throughout the ticket lifecycle. Let me break down why that workflow matters for you. So they help us respond faster because everyone knows exactly what steps to follow. They increase our first contact resolution rate by reducing the unnecessary handoffs. For one example, if multiple duplicate tickets are taken into account, and maybe they're spread throughout a few different tickets, those would definitely in the past have tied up resources. But now with us, again, doing the initial triage of these first tickets when they come in, we easily identify if multiple tickets have been sent in for the same thing by the same customer, and we'll reduce those down to the singular ticket and communicate that. And that allows us to make sure that multiple resources are not being tied up, which means faster responses for you as a customer. Whereas in the past, maybe multiple tickets are being worked on by multiple different technicians, and then you're getting snippets of information from each ticket, and you're not getting the full picture. So this is going to reduce that as a result of that. To ensure consistency, no matter what, pick up the ticket, the customer receives the same quality of experience. So all throughout that process, we're trying to ensure that from that first point of contact, even if we need to move it on to the next tier of escalation, that we're really getting and gathering all the facts, details. Maybe we got some good screenshots of the issue, and we communicate everything clear and concise on that ticket. So that way, when you do reach out and talk to, let's say, the next tier of support, let's say it's a business management ticket, and we needed to get it over to our L2 team to do some SQL queries and some SQL work to get that issue resolved for you. Well, we don't want a lot of information having to be redundant. So that's where we come in, of making sure that we're providing that workflow process to ensure that you're not getting too overly inundated with redundant type questions. So again, that's the goal, and we're working to strive to get even better at that as time goes. All right. With that, as we highlight the workflow process, a key element in that workflow, as previously mentioned, is the escalation to our L2 team. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our alarm monitoring L2 support manager, Aaron Bertling, who's on this call. And I'm just going to go through here. Aaron is the manager for our alarm monitoring side, L2 team escalations pathway. He has over 20 years of experience in the security industry, primarily focused on stages automation and platform support engineer. So Aaron does a tremendous job with our stages team going through that and leading that process. Previous roles in Bold Group consists of the stages NOC manager. He's been with us as a cloud services manager. And overall, Aaron's goal is to provide support in the most impactful way possible for our customers, and overall that customer connection and shaping the overall relationship with you as a customer basis. So again, going through the L2 escalations process, Aaron's been a key component in that here previously. So just wanted to kind of highlight that as we kind of go through the org chart. As we highlight again, the workflow process, this is the alarm side. We do also have our business management side. So we also have Lamar. Lamar, I'm sure many of you are familiar with. He's our business manager, business management L2 manager. And he has over 15 years of experience, and with 9 years of experience in IT, with customer service as well. Previous roles in Bold Group, he's been an IT support specialist. He's been an IT team lead, and support in business management L2 serves as the connective tissue between internal and external customers to the product team, such as development, product management, and triage. So when you get into those business management issues that really require that deeper level of whether it's SQL experience and going through and troubleshooting some of those items, or maybe it's something that you're reporting a potential defect or something of that nature, and you're getting that further looked into. These are the folks here, Lamar and his team, that are really honing in on that and going through and doing those troubleshooting steps and providing all the information to our triage process for then development to look into. So just wanted to again point them out as well as that part of the process. So let's talk a little bit more about what is the level 2, the escalations point, and how does that work for you folks as customers. So what is level 2 technical support and the purpose and position in the support model? So our L2 support is our bridge support and engineering. So again, as we mentioned, they're the connective tissue that ties together both the support process and our engineering department or our development team, as you folks know them. These are the folks that handle complex, non-routine issues that are beyond the level 1 scope with the customer engagement team. So again, maybe something like some advanced SQL items that you need completed. Maybe it's something that you're reporting a major issue where something's not behaving as it was initially described. These are folks that are really taking that base level triage that we do and taking it to the next level. So they would resolve issues that would exceed that 30-minute resolution time. So typically our customer engagement team are looking to interact with you as a customer and try to resolve something within that 30-minute process window for that initial phone call, right? So when we get a meeting through Calendly scheduled with you all and we go through that, we're trying to resolve that within that window. And if it needs to go to that next level, then that's where our L2 team comes in, and they're going to take that to the next step and work that through to completion. Now, whether that's resolving the issue for you or whether that's, again, for them finding out, okay, you know what, this needs to be a little bit looked at more from a development standpoint, then getting development involved and highlighting the key attributes that need to go through there. L2 works behind the scenes. They are the deep dive analysis using their experienced technical support team members to reproduce issues in tests or staging environments. And overall, what does that mean for the outcome of the users? So as a result of having this process and the escalations, that's going to be a faster long-term fixes. So reduce repeat incidents. These are things where we're starting to catch those again if they're duplicates, or maybe we know of a resulting issue that already currently exists. We're going to catch that and let you know right away. And then that way that leads to less downtime in regards to knowing on what's going on. Improve product stability, better customer relationships, as again, it's going to lead to you having that trust in us as a support group to know, hey, you know what, we're getting this process is looked at, our tickets are being answered, and we're getting a timely response. So hopefully you are seeing that improvement in the support process in regards to that. So how can we help level two help you. Best practices for faster resolutions, because that's what this is about, right? How do we have better tickets to help you get better resolutions? So it's all in the details. Use the customer support portal. It's a fantastic way. By doing so, you can include all the details that will assist the support team. If you give us screen captures, you can provide all of that in all that information in the support portal. Whereas over the phone, you can describe issues, but as they say, a picture's worth a million words. So it's great sometimes if you can provide us full details, or this is how I'm reproducing the issue, and you can give us the list of steps. That all helps in the support process. So be as thorough as possible with steps and examples, but also try to condense information as well. One of the things that does lead to faster response times is if we have clear, concise information. And again, we're going to expand a little bit on that when we look overall at the tickets. But this is, again, it's in those details. What you give us is going to really dictate how that ticket is triaged and how we can better get that ticket where it needs to go. If you give us all the information and all the details up front, we can easily identify whether that ticket needs to be looked at from a first contact point resolution within our customer engagement team, or if this is something that requires the next tier of support right off the get-go, then we're going to get those escalations done immediately, right? It's going to, again, lead to faster resolution times. Additional steps to achieve success. So timely communications until resolution. We're keeping you aware of what's going on. Even if it's moved on to level two, those technicians are going to keep you updated on what they're looking at as well. Scheduling L2 support via Calendly tools in our Salesforce portal. So again, when we move it to the next tier of support, generally, unless it's a critical issue, you're going to be asked to go in and schedule with us. So that way we can go ahead and do those deeper dives and really make sure we have focused time to work with you on those issues. Why does this all matter? Well, if you give us better input information, that is going to lead to a quicker diagnosis, and that's going to help L2 determine if escalation to even development is needed right off the bat. So again, the more information and better information that is provided, that is going to lead to you overall as a customer getting a faster understanding of what's going on or faster resolution. So just a key thing to pick up on there. Professional service and sales, again, we keep them in the loop depending on your needs and what the ticket is as well. So again, that helps us if we keep those in the details. A couple of other key highlights here. So ever since implementing this process, we've seen a 23% less a downcrease here from 9 days to 7 days on average on the ticket time. For phone calls, we have a 0% abandoned call rate now with the introduction of our AI call. And essentially, that's an average answer time also of 0 seconds. So when you call in, those needs are being met, and it's all in the details. So if you really give our automated AI attendant a chance to really gather those details and information, that's only going to lead to a better experience for yourself and for the support team to gather those details and triage at a faster rate. So I have here, and I'm not going to go through this word by word per se, but I have on the screen here, this is our ticket workflow process that kind of shows our thought process as an organization when your ticket first comes into the queue. I'll highlight a few things, but again, like I said, for those that want to either take a screenshot or a screen capture and have that for future reference, if you want to kind of really go through the nitty gritty, by all means, please do so. But I'll just highlight a few things. So it all starts with our initial triage for the case creation entry. So when that first touch point comes in, we evaluate the issue, determine the level of expertise needed. And if it's a deeper investigation, we'll escalate that to our L2 team. This early triage step keeps tickets moving quickly. So our L2 team technical verification. So once they receive that process and that ticket, the L2 validates what's happening by reproducing the issue, checking whether it's a known issue or it's been documented somewhere. And then if engineering insights, so from development, is needed, they'll prepare the case for development review. This ensures development only receives well-validated, clearly documented cases. From there, we have our development escalation. So if they determine that needs to be development looked at, they'll go ahead and the development will review reproduction steps, and they'll perform that deeper analysis and determine whether the issue requires a fix, an enhancement, or clarification. This is where the root cause analysis happens and long-term solutions are identified. So what's the benefit of this escalation path? So each step has a clear ownership. tickets are move efficiently, and customers get faster, more accurate resolutions, and development receives higher quality information, which leads to better long-term outcomes. So overall, this process was established with that in mind. So let's talk a little bit about ticket creation and case creation and best practices. So when you're putting in a ticket through our portal process, one of the things we really want to focus on is being clear, concise, and express the urgencies of the issue. Timelines and the level of impact to your business are critical for an accurate triage. So that's what we meant when we said it's all in the details. So the more information that you provide, and if it's presented in a fashion that really kind of lets our technician knows what's going on, that's going to help us and assist us through that process. So let's focus in here specifically on this here. So I had a mock ticket that I created for this presentation, and we're going through, and this one's more on the alarm side. So for those of you that are exclusively business management, bear with us. We'll do a quick demo and kind of go through it from the business management side. But let's pretend for a moment we're focused on Manitou and the alarm side. So with that, in this ticket, I'm saying that Manitou is currently down. So initially in this subject line, I'm letting the technicians know right off the bat that one, you're fully down, all users are unable to log in. That is going to really kind of give us those alarm bells, red lights, hey, critical component here, right? Just right off the bat. Then in our descriptions, I put in layout that at approximately, and I put 1856, so military time. You can put whatever time you want, but just again, let us know a timeline of when this occurred, right? So I said, at 6:56 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, having a good reference of what time zone you're in. We do have your information in Salesforce, so we'll know, but it does help again to weed out any delay in time if we can have information in there. In this case, we said all users were kicked out with an error message. And then I proceed to put the exact error message that was displayed. That information is critical. So if you folks ever get an error, please include either a screen capture of that in the ticket, or at minimum, if that's not an option, maybe just advise what the error message states. That information is critical for us because we can reference that. If there's an error code, we can pull up and start referencing the information and documentation so we know right off the get-go what we need to look at. I also put in what we've already done. So to, try to resolve it internally, right? So everybody attempted to refresh the web client, but they're still unable to log in. That helps us know that, you've already looked at some things internally. As far as the other items concerned at the end, no changes were made on the network currently and no outages on site. That helps us know, especially if you're a hosted customer, okay? That helps us know that you're reporting that everything on your end is looking good and that you've done the necessary troubleshooting steps. Maybe you tried going to a web page and verify you still have internet connectivity. Keep in mind there are third-party outages that can happen. Maybe there is some kind of an outage between you along those processes from you to us. And those are outside of our control, right? But this at least helps us know that you've done that due diligence. You kind of looked into some items, and that in turn will help us triage faster and start the processes quicker to go through those items. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and continue moving on and looking at this from perspective here. So this is what a ticket looks like in our Salesforce process here. So when we get that in, it'll show who's obviously the owner, in this case, myself. It'll show your name as the customer and essentially all the details that you've entered in onto the ticket. So this is why that those fields are very much something that are needed when you create a ticket. And we're going to walk through that portal here creation in a moment, and you'll see this in live time. But some information is very crucial. For example, version number, that helps us if you're reporting a potential defect issue or any type of an issue, knowing what version you are so we can test that in the appropriate type of test environment is very key. And that helps us to avoid those unnecessary questions, having to call you up, say, hey, what version were you working on that, or what version are you currently on? So if you can provide that information, that's always fantastic. And again, with each field, trying to get as close to the nature of your issue as possible does help in that triage process. So again, just wanted to highlight a few of that. Now, as we move on to the support ticketing process, I'm going to go ahead and log in here. So the typical login that you would see as a customer. And as you log in here, right off the bat, you're inputted with submitting a support case. So from here, you have a few different icons. So for those of you that are on the business management side, thank you for bearing with us here for a moment. So we'll take this from that response and perspective. Let's say, for example, that you are having issues where you're billing, you're not able to process that. Maybe there's some SQL work that needs to be done, right? Maybe something needs to be balanced, etc. So with that, you can put in the impact level to your current business. Now, do keep in mind, we do know and understand that any issue that you're presenting potentially has time sensitivity to it. So we ask that this field, the impact level, be as accurate as possible for you as the customer. So for example, critical and emergency, really reserving those for major business halting items. So unless your business is completely halted, please really kind of keep it in mind. Maybe it's just a major issue, it's a major inconvenience and things of that nature. But this does help us in that triage process to know at what level we need to provide information to. So select those information. So for this case, we'll put major. Again, version number would be fantastic. So if you know the version number of your Sedona product, Alarm Biller product, Managely, Manitou, any of our products, if you know the version number, that is fantastic information to provide. So I'll just put 48 for now and just go through that. But again, putting what product you are, make sure if you're a Managely product, Sedona, whatever your nature of product, those are information that you put in there. And then with the sub product, get as close to, again, the nature of the issue you're having with. For example, let's say that you're a Managely customer and you're having an issue with the Manitou integration. So please, just to get it to the initial point and get us a faster resolving time, make sure you select integration. That's going to really help us focus in on what you're initially having that issue with. So integration and so forth. Last but not least, going through the requested categories. Most of the time, if you're reporting an issue, it's probably going to be problem or issue, but essentially appropriate picking the select items here. But it is all in the details. So subjects, a clear, concise subject line is really going to help us see that initial item right off the bat. So please make sure that you are putting that information. Now, a little fun fact here, just as a reminder, that if you change your subject line from the initials, so let's say you already created a ticket and you're just calling for an update. If you put in a ticket and put in a different subject line, like let's say if you do it via email, that will create a new case. So as a result of that, that can lead to duplicate tickets being created. So if you are emailing into us, please keep the subject line the same. That way it identifies and posts to the original ticket. If not, it's going to kind of flood in as different tickets. And again, if it's not all handled within the same day, that could lead to a delay in time frame, because then we're treating that as a new event. And then going from there, that's going to lead to that delay for us finding those tickets. So keep that in mind as we go through that. Description, the information on what exactly is going on and transpiring. So as we looked at in the previous slide, some time frames would be great, and the information and the nitty gritty on what exactly is going on and what issues that you're seeing here. Last but not least, steps to reproduce. Please let us know how you went ahead and found this issue. If you are reporting a potential bug, we might do things a little different than you as the customer. So it's important and imperative that you as the customer walk us through how you do things, because it could be different. And especially for those that are really, really looking to negate having that first contact and say, hey, you know what, I'm giving you all the information so you can go and test that out and see if it is a bug. Those are items, then, if you want to avoid that, we really need that steps to reproduce to be clear and concise and have all the steps lean through. So anyway, just wanted to focus in on some of these items here. As we move back here to the slideshow presentation, let's go ahead and kick it off with another poll question.
All right, Jacob, here we go. We've got, how do you usually receive status updates?
Oh, these are some good ones. Absolutely. So we have check the status page, status emails, and status phone, text, or SMS. How are you folks as a customer basis getting those?
And we'll just keep this open for a little bit longer.
Perfect.
Get those answers in. All right. I'm going to end the poll in 3, 2, 1. I see a few more coming in. So hold on. I want to give everyone a chance that wants to participate. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, closing it. 3, 2, 1, closed. All right. Of those of you responded, 33, we got 33% of the votes going to check the status page. I'm not sharing it. Here you go. 33 of the votes went to check the status page. 85% of the votes went to status emails. 0% get status updates via text. So that's interesting right there. Tell us about
All right.
status page.
Good to
Jacob.
know. Absolutely. This actually highlights a very interesting fact here. So maybe a lot of you folks are not aware of our status page. So let's talk a little bit about that. So our status page, which the URL is here listed on the screen, highly recommend that you folks grab that URL and save that. So if you are a hosted customer or maybe Alarm Builder customer Managely, where again all of that is hosted on our end, this page provides up-to-date information on hosted services and even some major third-party resources. So as you can see in the screenshot, sometimes if there's any particular issues with some of our third-party services and it becomes known, we'll go ahead and put that on there. So let's look at this just really quick in live time. So if I go back here to where we're doing the ticket here. So this is our status page, status.boldgroup.com. And at the top, please subscribe to it. If you don't get messages or emails or anything of that nature here, please make sure you subscribe at the top. That is going to really keep you up to date when we have any planned maintenance. If there are any outages that have been reported or any issues, this here is going to be a lifesaver. And as I mentioned, like Forte payment issues or that might be happening with their services, this page will be updated as those issues become apparent to us. So it's something to be known. And as you can see, we do keep past information as well. So incidents in the last 7 days, if there was any type of an outage or something. We just got done doing maintenance not long ago. So this, for those of you that keep up to date on the status page, you would have been getting alerts through that process on when we're conducting, letting you know what to expect, what type of signals are being received, etc. So for those of you that are hosted, and I'll speak here from the alarm side for a moment, for example, but maybe anytime we have maintenance, maybe you get several panel not respondings that come in, right? And flood your queue with hundreds and hundreds of alarms. If you are subscribed to our status page, this will give you that information ahead of time so you know what to expect. So instead of having to be, you can be proactive instead of reactive, right? And that's the key. So that's why we want to highlight the status Bold Group page. And I think that poll there caught that a lot of folks may not be aware that this status page exists. So highly recommend that you do that. And then from the business management perspective, if there is any issues that we know of with Managely or Alarm Builder, we're going to post those here so that way you're aware of it and can be mindful of it. So this is for all of our products here. So definitely something to bookmark and have access to and so forth. So kind of keep that in mind. And we do update this in real time as issues are reported. All right, I'm going to go ahead, Sam, and turn it back over to you. We talk about our learning services.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take over the sharing here real quick. And so I'm Sam White, and I support BoldU and knowledge bases in addition to managing these webinars. And if you're like me, the last thing you want to do is reach out to support. I understand we just did a whole thing on reaching out to support, but that's the last thing I want to do. I'd like to find out the information for myself. And so one of the ways that we do this is that we provide a free service called BoldU. It is free, and it is used so that you can train your employees on Bold software. It has engaging multimedia courses, and we give you the ability to add users and enroll them yourselves and enroll them into courses. You can then also track their progress, send off reports if you need to. And if you need to your organization set up or want to talk to someone about how to use it in your onboarding, feel free to send an email to boldU@boldgroup.com and for more information. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. I am showing my screen here, and it looks like um, I am already showing you what the actual screen looks like for a learner. Whenever they get their login, they log in, this is what they'll see. They'll see courses that they're working on. They'll see courses that have been assigned to them and haven't started yet. And there may be different learning journeys. We're working on some more learning journeys, but also there's a catalog here for people to see uh, what courses are available to them. And also, let's take a look real quick at what one of these courses looks like. So we got Manitou listed here, and they could do their own courses here. Let me see here. Make sure everyone can see that. And they'll start here, and they click over here. They'll see that they can skip around to different subjects as needed. And like I said, these are interactive, so they many times it's not just reading, but several things for them to do. Sometimes we incorporate some video. Some items, whenever it's necessary, we'll actually even have some um, simulations for them to try. And if they need to look at it full screen, they can also do that and view their uh, courses in full screen. Now, what does that look like for a manager of your, as a learning manager of your organization? Well, what that looks like is show you this side over here. We'll switch over to the manager. And you can see on the manager's dashboard, you'll be able to see some different statistics. You'll be able to view your users and also create a new user, send an invite, and export the users over. This is where you would enroll the users into different courses. You'll choose the course, put the user in it, and also you have other reporting that you can create and collect. Now, one of the cool things that we do with all of the learning courses is that not only do we have them here in Bold U for everyone to take and to track, then we also have them in our knowledge bases. So, in case you didn't know, we have a knowledge base for all of our products. And we're looking at the Manitou knowledge base currently. And we made some different changes for people to be able to navigate a little bit better. But every one of our knowledge bases has a getting started area for free learners. We have a deep dive knowledge list of articles for the software. Also, we have a section for release notes in all of our knowledge bases. And right here, we have the e-learning courses. These are the exact same e-learning courses that are in Bold U if you want to reference them again after taking them. And we also do carry Sims and Manitou Legacy in the knowledge base for Manitou. But you can use the side here to navigate as well. Some people find this a lot easier. Oftentimes, we try to organize it according in this area according to how it looks in the software. You can see that even better here in the Sedona knowledge base. Again, we have the new release notes. We also have Sedona X. How-to videos are also a part of many of our knowledge base. But you can see here that we have everything kind of sorted out in the same order as the tree that you would find in Sedona Office. And that and we have both, you can search for articles by keyword both here and at the top of the middle section as well in all of our knowledge bases. One fun thing that we do with all of our knowledge bases also is that, and this we just started this in Managely, is that we've been able to integrate the knowledge base with the program. Now, Managely and Sedona Office both have a little icon here, and it says support, but what that will do is actually take you to the knowledge base for that. But in addition to this icon right here, we have a little widget. We call it a widget that if you click on it, it will provide knowledge base articles, also e-learning guides and how-to videos that are relevant to whatever you're viewing here in the middle area. So we're looking at the customer portal area. If we go to accounts receivables and we go to invoices and then click on it, we'll see that uh, our selections here have changed as to what's relevant to learn about what we're looking at. Currently, we only have it in Managely. We are able to, but we're looking at making it into the Manitou for the web version of Manitou. So be looking forward to that. Swap over here to the slideshow. And again, Bold U is for formalized online learning, where you get to manage your own learners and assign courses. You can track and report progress. Email boldu@boldgroup.com. And here is the URLs for all of the business management knowledge bases if you want to take a picture or a screenshot of that. Again, we'll be sending these out, all this information out afterwards. And here's all of the knowledge base URLs for the alarm software. And we do have a pretty good e-learnings for stages as well. Great. Well, with that, all that information out there, it brings us to a time for questions. I will look at, I'm looking at the question and answer part because I wasn't able to while I was presenting. But on Bold U to enroll trainees, do they have to have an email to be enrolled? I would say yes. You would need to use some sort of email for them to receive information. And let's see, we also had, can we enroll legacy ourselves? I'm not quite sure what that means, but with Manitou, we do have whatever legacy training was in Bold U previously is still there. And you should be able to enroll yourselves in the catalog if you find those. And but of course, in the knowledge base where we have all the legacy information, you don't need enrollment. Hope that helps. Hope that answers that questions.
I think I want to highlight too, just to kind of throw it out there too. If you all do have an emergency need, a critical need, definitely make sure, even if you create the ticket in the portal, do make sure you call in as well, just so that way you can really ensure that that is being attended to. So if you're, for example, I know we offer after hours for our Manitou platform. If you are in those dire needs, especially over the weekend, ensure that you're actually calling in so that way it goes through our on-call process and make sure that, it's being attended to. Don't just submit a ticket in blind, especially on the weekends, because again, you're going to see a significant delay at that point if you do. We really need that call in. So again, I know, like Sean said, we are working to address and make sure we expedite these phone calls. There are options when you are talking to our automated AI that will prompt you to see if there are any critical needs, business impaired, fully down items, and it has established workflows that it will go through and take you to the right location and so forth that you need to get those resolved. So I just wanted to throw that out there in reference to that.
Great. That's awesome, Jacob. Thank you for sharing that. We are coming close to the end of our time. Just maybe time for any other questions. And okay, great. If again, we just hope you enjoyed everything that you've learned when it comes to how to get support and also how to get your own information if you don't want to call support. And hopefully this helps you be able to operate easier and everybody else have a great day. And we will send out this webinar soon. And feel free to contact us if you have any other needs. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.